Hello, welcome to Yuse. I'm your host Yuse, and today we are reading the House of Nomura, the inside story of the legendary Japanese financial dynasty, written by Albert J. Alletzhauser. We are just at the beginning of this book, but I just wanted to kind of reflect on the way the book came in. It came in on a very historic date in the financial marketplace, October 20th, 1987. It was a Tuesday that the Great Crash took place. And essentially, the story starts out with one of the top general managers who's highly respected at one of the biggest trading companies and biggest investment security companies in Japan, Nomura. He's woken up on the phone from some callers, some colleagues in New York who are informing him of the stock market collapsing. And so he's rushing into the office, and they're kind of just painting the picture and the setting on what, 7-story building along the river, brackish building on the third floor. It's like a arena of traders, and he comes in, he's respected by, everyone there. A lot of people, apparently very few people know that he's actually the nephew of the president. The president being Sunao Okunumura. Hold on, let me just give these names justice. So the character which I'm speaking of, his name is Tetsuo Okumura, and the president, the elder, who a lot of people don't know is his older uncle, his name is Sunao. They're very similar names, but it's Tetsuo and Sunao. So Sunao, the elder, has been president from 1948 to 1959, and Tetsuo, the younger, he joins the firm in 1958. And this firm is so significant. Why should we even care about Nomura? Because Nomura, quote, is responsible for 20% of all stock and bond transactions in the Japanese market during this time. So they were obviously a very huge, influential financial company. And so I'm curious to see just what had happened throughout this time. It seems like there's a lot to learn, but it's kind of bringing some of Tetsuo's background story. From what I can recall, he was born in 1936 in Hokkaido. Hokkaido is the northern island of Japan, and he grew up in he was like born in a fishing village. He was talking about how, his probably most business-like influences were the fish merchants who would literally go sell soy sauce to the surrounding districts. I thought that was interesting. I just had a vision of just these guys in Japan, with a cart of soy sauce, and just thinking how do you sell soy sauce? But it's yeah, so that was some of he was grew up in that fish village, and then went to school, got good grades, went to St. Paul's College in Tokyo. Apparently it's really difficult to get into college in Tokyo, so that was just a very big needed achievement to be on a corporate trajectory for the path that he wanted to go. He knew they'd probably have a job secured if he could just get into college. So he went to college and kind of just kicked back, but still handled his grades, did what he needed to do to pass. But he knew that'd probably be his most lax stage of his life, and it turned out to be true because he had a very stressful business life following college. And so after he graduated, he joined the firm in 1958. Probably got a lot of his uncle, influence, and essentially some of his clout, being used to get him that initial job. But he started out as a domestic salesman, and apparently it was very challenging, very resistant. It's pretty much door-to-door sales, telemarketing sales, and this is back in the late 50s, early 60s. So he's doing, I think it's 6 years of the domestic sales in Tokyo. He did 4 of those years in Tokyo. He's just banging on doors and just getting shooed out of, businesses. And I don't know how you would peddle and try and sell stocks to people and try and sell investment services. That just sounds crazy to me to sell it in that fashion. But it sounds like that's how cats were getting down out there at that point. And it's interesting to think of a Japanese sales culture like that. When you think of that, you think of very American style, American show up on your door and try and sell you stuff. But apparently Nomura, they had these cats out here in the field. So I thought that was very interesting. So he did 4 years there, and then they mentioned Japan's coming out party. Ooh, I would love to find a date. I didn't write it down in my notes, but I want to write that date. It was the Olympics, which took place in 19 which year? They said it was Japan's coming out party. Yeah, it was 1964. So during that time, I'm sure that there was just a lot of activity going on in Japan because it was post-war, and it was just enough time to have gone by where Japan can kind of recover and develop a new reputation with the world. And so I'm sure that was a big milestone. But they sent him to Osaka. He did 4 years in corporate finance, and then he went and did another 4.5 years in the investment department, and then he did a follow-up 15 years in the stock trading department. So by the time he was 51, and it's the day he's getting this call about the stock market crashing, he's already risen up the ranks. And regardless of his uncle being the president or not, it sounds like he really earned his way, and he really, yeah, just he just climbed the hierarchy of this one, financial company. And so it's just very interesting. Like, I've been thinking a lot about career and just like, career pathways and how people elevate. So to hear how many years some people sacrifice to get to a certain place. Now, I'm not saying that, everything was perfect about this company. I feel like there's probably some not so, we'll see what kind of events take place. I'm not gonna make any assumptions, but that's the beginning. That's kind of where we're at so far. I thought it was very interesting. And yeah, we'll see what else comes